Hello everyone. Today I will tell you about a dramatic thriller 2019 under the name Ruthless film. It starts at night, where a man named Sonny grabs a woman. She is called Larissa. She is jealous that she continues to be with her husband and reminds her that they are going to get rid of him soon. Then he takes her into the house to have fun. Then we are shown the past, where Sonny arrives in the city where he was promised a job, but he finds out that the vacancy is no longer available. That night he decided to sleep outside. Later, he rescues an old man who has been attacked. Hooligans. An old man named George thanks the young man for saving him, and a little later his young wife Larissa runs up to him. That night, George brings Sledge home and offers him a hot meal. After that, he offers him a job, a room for his stay. Sonny is very happy and relieved. Larissa warns her husband that they don't know anything about this man, but George just wants to help this poor guy. The next day, the sleigh starts working. Days go by. Larissa always keeps her distance from him. One day she comes to him and says he was told that if he wanted to stay, he had to stop looking at her. When he asks why she married this old man, the woman does not answer and leaves. One evening at dinner, George offers Sledge some alcohol and he goes to the kitchen to get mugs. There he finds Larissa and touches her, and she does not resist. Later that night, she can't sleep thinking about him. The next day, to be alone with Larissa, Sledge tells George that he has finally identified the right spare part for the car. As a result, George leaves to bring spare parts. Larissa is interested in how long he will be gone. Sledge replies that about 3 hours. After hearing this, she rushes into his arms and they make love. Later, when George returns, he is so happy that finally his car is working after repairs. He makes a test drive. Sledge uses this opportunity to tell Larissa to be careful and stop this, otherwise he will suspect. She assures him that it won't happen again. Then George returns and announces Larissa that this car is her gift. That night George gets drunk and sleeps on the couch. Sonny takes the opportunity to make love with Larissa. After that, Larissa says that she does not want to deceive her husband. Sledge asks her again why she got married to George. She finally replies that she met him at the hotel when she was working as a maid. She was barely surviving then because she barely spoke English, and he sheltered and married her. Sonny offers her to leave the old man, says that if she had money, she would gladly do it. The next day, George brings the sleigh to his land plot and announces that they will build a park here. Entertainment. Later that day, Sonny brings Larissa there and shows her the land. She is excited and says that all this may belong to them. Sonny is confused. She says they should kill him. The guy is shocked by such a confession. That same night, the guy has nightmares because he is not a murderer and not such a bad guy. The next day, George shows Larissa the layout of the park and how it will look. The same night we are shown a scene from the beginning of the film where Sledge, grabbing Larissa aggressively, makes love to her. Days later, the construction of the park begins. Sonny has to leave because his sister is sick, but in fact he is going to a hotel where Larissa meets with him to do love. Then they start planning how they will kill the old man. An idea comes to Sonny's head, which he offers to the girl on. The next day he shows her his idea, dropping the typewriter on a watermelon will be George instead of a watermelon. One day he finally finds an excuse to put George in the exact position. Comes, Larissa pushes the lever, kills George, but Sonny's hand gets stuck there in the process and he tells her to leave. She leaves and gets rid of her bloody shoes. A minute later, Larissa gets a call from the police and she stays in the house pretending to be sad to find out about George's death and Detective Crawford comforts her. That same night, Sledge returns home while Crawford feels something fishy about this story. He found dirty shoes, Larissa, and they think she threw them away. Pretty fast, Sledge forces Larissa to go in search of these shoes. Larissa regrets what she did. Maybe they shouldn't have done it. But Sonny said in anger that she suggested everything, so that you need to keep everything up to the end. Then, to her surprise, she finds both shoes and burns them. The following day, Crawford came to visit Sledge. He asked him a few questions and left after a few seconds. Larissa comes to talk to him. She is worried that Crawford watches them from afar. More than a week passes, and Larissa continues to build George's theme park, which is now hers. One night, Crawford calls Sledge and asks him to come to the station, which causes Larissa to panic. The next day, when they leave for the station, Crawford uses this opportunity to go to their house. An hour later, he comes to the station and tells Sledge that his testimony is incorrect, and what happened to George was not an accident. He showed him that the medical examination showed that the car fell on George twice, and also show a video where we see that to fall the car in the tractor you need to pull the lever. Crawford has let him go for now, but by putting pressure on him, as soon as I find out that it was you, you'll end up behind bars. Then we are shown what really happened that day. The car actually didn't kill George the first time, so Larissa pulled him and let him go for the second time. Larissa panics at home, but Sonny assures her that Crawford has no proof and it's just a theory. Then she asks him, "Are you not going to turn me in?" He shouts at her, denying such an action. At this time, Crawford calls Larissa and asks her to come to her tomorrow region. She panics, but then the sleigh reports that she is pregnant and is dangerously nervous. The next day, she decides to go to the police station and confess everything, but denying involvement. Larissa, he did it to protect the mother of his unborn child. Meanwhile, Larissa wakes up with a letter where is the sleigh explains what he did for her and a child. Once freed, he will find a way and find them. In the letter, he repeated several times that he loved her. Years later, Larissa sent another letter, Sonia informing him about how the boy, he's doing well. Now he has a lot of photos. My son is on the wall, and both continue to exchange letters. Then they show Larissa successfully managing the thematic park. Unfortunately, she is still cheating on Sledge by playing a game with him so that he does not suspect anything, and we are shown that the lover, the man who attacked George at the beginning of the film and Sledge saved him, it turns out she has already tried to take his life. We also find out that the photo she sent us is actually fake. The child in the picture is the son of one of her employees. She actually never gave birth to a child. The film ends with that the evil Larissa is looking at her theme park while Sledge is holding a photo of a fake son on the way to the treasury. All by